Hello, everybody. So today I wanted to take a look at Marilyn Manson's chart. Marilyn Manson, obviously quite a unique guy, been famous for quite a long time. A lot of people really enjoy his music, and you can really see an awful lot of his well-known traits and characteristics really reflected in this chart quite well. So to start off, it's probably not a shock to anybody to see that he's a Leo ascendant, which, of course, a Leo ascendant is someone who loves attention. They're a person who loves to be the center of attention, loves to be looked at, gazed at, likes to kind of see themselves a little bit as a work of art almost. They take great pride in their appearance, but maybe not so much in a Taurus fashion of maybe like kind of wanting to come across as refined or wealthy. But Leo ascendant can be more of wanting to be a little bit more outside the box. Leo ascendant can be more shocking a little bit. Not as shocking as Marilyn Manson always, but Leo ascendant just really want to be unique, be the one in the room who's looked at. They want to be the one that people pick out of the crowd. So for Marilyn Manson, that's really not a surprise at all. Um, on top of that, we have Neptune squaring his ascendant, which Neptune ruled by Pisces. Pisces can be give way a little bit to like fuzzy thinking, can be a little bit delusional in its dark aspect. So when you've got Neptune squaring the ascendant like that, that can be a person who maybe has maybe struggles with accurate self perception. It could be someone who's kind of delusional about how they come across people, how they appear to people. Could give them maybe kind of delusions of grandeur a little bit. Maybe they might kind of think that they come across much better than they do, or kind of have maybe over the top self perceptions. Um, what actually compounds that in this chart on top of that would be the Mercury in the sixth house in Aquarius. So Aquarius always the key word when dealing with Aquarius is weird, weirdo, strangeness. Aquarius is always just like that little bit further outside the box than everybody else. Aquarius always strange person, strange appearance, strange ideas, depending on if it's Sun, Ascendant, Mercury, whatever place it's in, strange anything. So when you have Mercury in Aquarius, that's a person who has strange thoughts, just very unique, outside the box kind of thinking, very just way types of thoughts that confront society that are just very different. And so in the sixth house, which is ruled by Virgo, this is the troll aspect. This is a person who likes to be shocking with their words. This is a person who likes to make a statement and to kind of confuse people, shock people. To really confront society a little bit. I think, especially in the case of Marilyn Manson, with shocking perspectives or different perspectives. Then with Marilyn Manson, I mean, it's probably really no surprise that again to anybody that someone as successful as Manson has Jupiter in his second house, which is a good indicator of wealth. And especially there's a white conjunction between Jupiter and Pluto, or not even a white conjunction actually, but Pluto occupies the same house, also occupies the second house along with Jupiter, which creates a dynamic of a wealthy person, a person who has access to a lot of wealth, but simultaneously it's very much the old adage of easy come, easy go. This is a person who can acquire a lot of wealth easily, but also have it taken away because obviously of how cruel and fickle Pluto can be. Pluto can really just really give and take away so easily. It's such a unbelievably powerful planet. And also interestingly enough, you've got Uranus that is conjuncting Pluto there quite tightly within a few degrees, and so obviously Uranus is ruled by Aquarius again, which again is strangeness and uniqueness, inventiveness. It's a person who can be eccentric. So again, it's not a surprise you've got Uranus in the second house conjunct Jupiter in the second house, um, which is a person who obviously can become very wealthy from their uh, the fact that both are in Libra is a person who becomes very wealthy from their unique art. So Libra obviously is associated with Venus, associated with artists, with communication, stuff like that. And so yeah, it's not surprising at all to see that someone like Manson has that aspect, which is really just being very unique, being very out there, being eccentric, and then actually both those planets are, I believe it's both those planets are trining his Mercury, which again is working with that trolling nature, that aspect of being shocking, that aspect of thinking outside the box. Um, and that's it. Neither of them are conjuncting his. Oh, and yes, no, neither of them are conjuncting his ascendant. But still, that's quite a dynamic. You can see that you can really see how his uniqueness, his desire for attention are all really working together there across multiple facets of his chart. On top of it, you've got to go a different direction with it. Manson also has Leo Moon 12th house. Leo Moon is a very sensitive aspect. I know I've got it. It's a person who can be very easily hurt. It's a person who's very, very sensitive, really wants people to appreciate them, as opposed to maybe someone like a Leo Moon or a Leo Ascendant that's maybe a bit more brave, or maybe what have you, with their desire for attention. A Leo Moon is really the scared little boy or girl who just really wants to be cared about. It's a very vulnerable aspect. And in the 12th house, there's two houses that Leo Moon will especially struggle in. There's the 8th house, which is whether you want to think about it as the worst or the best. The 8th house would be the most sensitive place for the 8th moon. That would be a person who's just sensitive to the point of bordering on having psychic abilities. In fact, the vast majority, or if not all, of Leo Moon 8th houses have some level of psychic ability, or typically do some kind of energy work, do some kind of energy healing, something like that. But second to that place would be the 12th house for the Leo Moon, which is again a person who feels very deeply, but particularly with the 12th house ruled by Pisces. Pisces is again likes to hide things. The 12th house likes to hide things. You've got someone who learns to hide their feelings over time, which again is common for Leo Moons, but particularly with the 12th house, it's a person who has really learned to really hide away that vulnerability and really hide away that real desire for appreciation and validation, really way away from the world. Particularly with obviously the moon can also be related to the mother, and the 12th house also has hidden enemies. There's a possibility that this could be indicating issues with his mother. His mother maybe didn't appreciate him enough, didn't give him the love he needed, and so he may be carrying that wound still from those issues. Still wanting that kind of motherly affection, because of course our mothers are the ones who are supposed to give us, unconditional affection, and perhaps he didn't get that, and so maybe now he's still, kind of looking for that, but at the same time knows it makes him so vulnerable, so he hides it away, and you can see actually it's an opposition to his Mercury 6th house Aquarius again. So maybe that aspect of, if you've seen him in interviews, you can kind of see that that aspect of the troll and kind of the provocateur is very much can very much be covering over that sensitivity and that kind of desire to not be mistreated or attacked or criticized or something like that. One other interesting aspect that's planet that's aspecting his ascendant is Saturn, which, let me check my notes here. Saturn aspecting his ascendant, I think it's trining his ascendant, helps him be taken seriously, because obviously someone like Marilyn Manson, he's really kind of sort of doing a balancing act, because he obviously is very outrageous. He wears lots of makeup. He wears crazy clothes. He's someone who would have there would be a possibility that he could kind of come off as very ridiculous. That's a person who maybe there would be a risk of him being taken as a joke, being taken as a clown. But he's often, as his kind of career and his impact on culture has shown, he's actually taken quite seriously, and probably too seriously sometimes. And you can see that with the Saturn trining his ascendant, that helps you to have a more of a serious kind of a vibe to you. The Saturn trining ascendant, especially I guess Saturn in Aries. Saturn in Aries in particular is a person who really is sure of their mission, like really kind of really intense about the direction they're going in. So for that to be trining the ascendant, I guess, is probably giving him that kind of serious quality to him. Then on top of it, you've got another interesting aspect here that sort of is a little bit of a reflection of what we just spoke about with the moon in Leo in the 12th house. He's got Venus in the 7th house in Pisces. So Venus in Pisces, well, Venus in the 7th house is going to be very strong because 7th house ruled by Libra. 7th house is the house of relationships. So Venus 7th house is going to be like, that's person going to fall very deeply in love. They're going to really, like, love is really going to take them over like a really strong drug. I mean, it can do that for all of us, but for Venus 7th house, it really is just completely intoxicating. And for Venus then to be in Pisces, it can really lead to a person being very easily fooled in love, because again, Pisces can be a little bit delusional, a little bit confused, and so for the Venus to already be so much consumed in the 7th house, for it also to be in Pisces means that he can really kind of throw himself into every relationship without maybe evaluating it enough. And so it's kind of a person who I would get the impression it's sort of a person who treats every relationship as if it's like their first teenage love, kind of, which is very cute for a teenager, but maybe as you're getting into your 40s and 50s, maybe can create struggles with people you're sharing the age range with. But yeah, that's very much a person who really just falls crazy deep in love without maybe giving a proper assessment of who it is they're falling in love with, or because again, that Venus 7th house just sinks them so deep into love so fast, so intense for them. And then the Venus in Pisces can make them really over evaluate someone, like really give someone credit they don't deserve, really kind of make up a story about what's going on or who the person is that might not be accurate. It might just be what the person wants to be true. That this is kind of a person who looks like they would be kind of getting their heart broken quite a lot by kind of always matching up with people for who they wish they were, who they hope they are. It isn't really based on evidence a lot more than who they actually are. So check my notes here again. He's got North Node in Aries, which is a person who has to go on a journey of self-discovery. And given that it's in his 8th house, this is a person who has to go on a journey of self-discovery into the darker aspects of themselves or darker aspects of human beings. So that would be stuff, like kind of the themes you see Marilyn Manson exploring: drugs, violence, the hypocrisy, these things. But it could also be about a cult. It could also be into actual occult practices, magic, voodoo, these kinds of things. That's a lot of it. Saturn Aries in the 9th house again is a strong sense of conviction. His Manson's Saturn is not very afflicted in his chart. So it gives him a lot of confidence, really makes him very sure of himself. The fact that it's squaring his sun maybe undermines him a little bit. In the past, I've heard this called the incel aspect, because I don't particularly know why it produces this, but it can people who have this aspect tend to report they struggled a lot in their teenage years and their early 20s with love and the opposite sex or the same sex, whichever thing is you're doing, and that they really felt isolated from whoever it was they were pursuing sexually, and it took them a while to figure that out. But yeah, perhaps with the Saturn squaring Sun there can be quite an oppressive aspect for the ego, for the Sun. But simultaneously, Saturn in Aries in the 9th house, it's a really powerful driver. That's someone with a huge amount of willpower. And then combined with the Capricorn Sun, really gives them the ability to really work hard and realize a plan. The last thing I can comment on is his Mars. He's got Mars square Moon, which creates quite difficult to control emotions. He won't necessarily lash out with physical violence, but this would really be, especially like as we discussed with that Moon, it's Moon in Leo in the 12th house, and you've got Mars squaring that would sort of indicate, especially with the Mars in the third house being ruled by Gemini communication, this is a person who really probably like lets things come to a boiling point and then just lashes out, just says something very hurtful, or just kind of just vomits up all the emotion they should have talked about in over the course of a week, a month, a year, 10 years, it'll reach a boiling point that Mars Moon conflict will get too much, that square will get too much. It'll just all come out of them in one torrent. So I hope you found that interesting. That's just some things I thought were interesting around Marilyn Manson's chart, and certainly seems to match him quite well. And okay, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.